Haha, so you've clicked part 3. Congratulations, you've made it through the first 2 boring episodes ever. The most boring episodes ever. I'm gonna give you a clap. Sweet. Alright, so let's go and dive in. And I'm just gonna kind of grab your hand right now and just kind of move forward. Today I'm gonna show you how to use the source window and how to also add things to your timeline. And then after that, maybe if we have time, if this video didn't get too long, maybe I'll dive into understanding the timeline a bit better. We'll see how it goes. Alright, so how do you preview what you're looking at? How do I, Jerry Gonzalez, preview these things? Because I don't use icon view, I use the list view. How do I do it? I use a source window as a preview window, so I'm going to double click my video. See, I'm double clicking this little icon here. I'm not double clicking the letters because the letters will rename my file. Double click this icon on the side, and here is my preview. Cool. So now I can preview if I scrub using this yellow scrubber here. I can go through the whole video, and I can see that this video is, if I go to the end, 23, well, it's actually right here in these white letters, 2 minutes and 35 seconds long and 15 frames. That is what we're looking at. Let me run you through a few things, a few settings here, and how to really understand this whole window here. So, see these yellow letters, these yellow numbers, letters, I'm crazy, I don't know. That is basically the time code of where we are in our footage. Okay, you'll see 1 minute, 17 seconds, 27 frames. I can change this if I want to fine tune it to 0. And I want to change this to 20 seconds, and I want to change this to 0 frames. So exactly 20 seconds in, this is where the play scrubber is. Alright, so that's going to become important in a bit. What I can do is I can actually click and hold these yellow numbers there and actually scrub left and right like that. I can even, like I did, edit these. So I'm just going to do 20 double zeros. Okay, cool. So there we go, 20 seconds. So then we have this drop down here called fit. What this basically does is it's going to fit the video into this window pane. It's going to take advantage of the full pane. So if I extend this pane, look at that, the video is extending, right? It's making smaller, really cool. That's pretty awesome there. If I change this to 10%, it's going to get all tiny. That's 10% of the actual video size. If I go to 100%, this is how big the actual video is. So yeah, that's not very cool. I mean, you might want to use that. You can actually scroll left and right and up and down if you want to see that. But I'm going to go to fit because that works best. I get to see everything in the shot. This right here, I'll go over these 2 buttons in a bit. Then this right here is the playback resolution, where basically if I put this to 1/4 and if I play this, let me lower my volume on my computer just a bit. If I play it, you'll see it gets really blurry, right? That's because it's playing at 1/4 of the quality in the source window. If I move this to 0.5%, it's going to get a little bit better, but it's playing at 0.5% there. If I pause it, go to full, now when I play this, it's going full quality as I'm previewing this file. If your computer is not too good, the specs aren't too great, but you still want to edit video, I recommend lowering this number so it doesn't take up as much computer power to preview your file. The next thing we have is the settings, which you can change a bunch of settings here. Really cool. So you can only check out the audio waveform if you want. You can check out the alpha channel if you want, if you have any alpha channels in your video file. All scopes, we can see the RGB and stuff like that. So that's really cool. Really complicated stuff, right? Anyway, so you're probably not going to dive into that too much. And then we have a bunch of really cool stuff like the playback resolution and the pause resolution and things like that, that this gets more fine-tuned. So I'm going to go to composite video and leave this the way it was. Cool. Of course, this white number here is how long the in and out duration. Okay, so this is the how long the whole video is. Okay, then we have the mark out position. Actually, we should have a few more buttons here. Let me just make this pane a little bit bigger. Boop, boop, boop. Cool. So some buttons actually just popped up, right? Cool. So we have a add marker, or press the M key to add a marker. What that does is it allows you to create this little green marker right at that point where you're watching the video, okay? And what that allows you to do, let me create another marker, boom, right here, is you can actually double click that marker and make you can name this marker first or whatever you want to do, or even like thumbnail. So now I know, and I'm going to name this, make this frame my thumbnail. Okay, that's how I spell that in Jerry language. I can do a bunch of different options here and flash key point, stuff like that. I just use it for the name and comments. Click OK. And now when I hover over this, I know it's named thumbnail, and my little note says make this thumbnail. If I double click it, I can edit it. Very cool. So now if I'm scrubbing, what I can actually do is right click and go to previous marker, and there we go. Now I'm snapped to that marker, and now I have my thumbnail image. Pretty cool. So that's what that does. We have our in and out points, which are going to get very interesting in just a moment. I can't show you those right now yet because they won't make sense. I have our go in, so once we have our in and out points, what I can do is click this button. It'll go straight to the in point. We have our step back frame, play button, which is pretty straightforward if I press play. My forward frame, so I click frame by frame, or I can do the right arrow key, left arrow key for frame forward and backward. Look at me, I'm dancing and woo! Okay, so then we have the go to the end of our in and out points, beginning, end. We have an insert, so we can insert to the timeline, overwrite to the timeline, and even export frame. So let's say, remember I want to go to my previous marker. That is the thumbnail image that I want. I click export frame. Check it out, I can name my frame as thumbnail. Gosh dang it, why do I have caps lock on? Thumbnail. I'm going to save this as a PNG if I want, sure. I can import this to my project right away. I can change the path by clicking browse of where I want this image to be saved. Click OK. There we go. Thumbnail is now added to my projects list. And if I minimize or if I move over Premiere Pro just a bit, you see the thumbnail image has been saved. So there you go. That's what those buttons do. And then we have this little button editor here. So we can add buttons, remove buttons if we want. We can reset the layout. So we can add like safe margins. Okay, if I want to drag that onto my buttons pane here, click OK. Now I have this new button, and if I click that, this is the safe frames. If you've ever used safe frames, you can turn them on and off. You'll know that this frame right here is where you want your main video, your main focus to be in. Okay, so I'm there, so that's good. The second frame is for like text and things like that, and then it gets more complicated in here. This is like your extreme focus. This is the middle of your video, and middle of your video, middle line. So that's safe frames if you use that at all. I'm actually going to take them out and click OK because I like it just the way it is. Like, that's all standard. Alright, so that pretty much brings us to the end of this video. This one's getting really long, so I'm going to cut it. But if you look at the program window at the buttons at the bottom, things are pretty much the same. So you can add even more cool buttons here if you want to do that. But things are pretty much the same, so keep that in mind. Now that you've learned the source video files window, now you kind of understand the in and out points of the program, how long your video is basically going to be, things like that. So that's pretty cool. Now I don't have to make a video on this program window because that would be kind of pointless. I promise in my next video I will go over the timeline and also go over these buttons here and how the source video editor, or see, I'm using source video files. This is the name of my file. I keep messing that up. But anyways, this is the source tab, how you can correctly use the source tab and what it's meant to do. So we'll go over that in the next video. I'm sorry that this one also was another boring one. Again, I'm going to say it, but this time I mean it. The next video will be a lot better. So thank you guys for watching. Remember to thumb up, comment, and, well, subscribe because it helps me a lot. It's free, and you get delivered with all my new tutorials. And hey, if you're watching this right now, if you've made it this far into this video, I'm doing something right? I mean, come on, you got to be interested in some of my other videos. I don't know. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching. Click the next part, please.